Hello everybody, my name is Barry Johnson and welcome back to another edition of Studio Talk. If you've been watching my channel, you know that recently I purchased several of the MacBook Pro M1Pro computers, specifically a 14-inch and a 16-inch. I've also been a user over the last year of the M1 MacBook Air, and so I've got multiple videos out there kind of showing various examples of what you can expect to achieve with these new processors. And demonstrating the power of them and giving some opinion, some lessons learned, what's good, what's bad, what we need to be patient for, and whether or not you can jump straight into the water right now. And we're trying to decide, is the water warm or is it cold? And so I want it to be warm for you. So today I've got a Pro Tools session here. The specs of this current session it's at 96K. That is a request of a viewer on my channel. Asked me to demonstrate this. So I'm at 6 foot. I'm sorry. I'm at 96K, 24-bit, with a buffer of 64, which is the lowest buffer setting in Pro Tools I can go to when recording at 96K. So here is an example. Let's kind of move over to Pro Tools and let's start taking a look at the window here. And here, let's go to the mix window. And here you can clearly see that I have 200 tracks, right? 200 audio tracks. So I scroll back through all the way back to audio track number 1. And what you're going to see here is on each one of these channels, I have the new Waves SSL plugin, channel strip plugin. So I've got that on all 200 tracks. In addition to that, I've also got the Waves CLA 76, then followed up by the Waves CLA 2A. And just in case on your channels you need to do some surgical stuff, I have the Avid EQ7, okay? Now, the reason I chose these particular plugins today is because they're all M1 certified. And so I should get theoretically the best performance out of these. I do have plugins that are not M1 certified, and some are hit or miss. Most I'm finding are working, but a lot aren't. And so anyways, you can see I've got 200 tracks here. Ready to go. So now we're gonna hit play and record. We're gonna put all of these into record mode, and so now I've got them all record enabled. What this is doing is it's recording the audio off of the microphone on the MacBook Pro laptop. Okay, so that's just my voice on every one of those channels going out, and you can see as I scroll through here, even scrolling through, there's somewhat little bit of lag into it. Some things to notice here before we're actually even doing anything. We're pretty much getting close to kind of maxing out the CPU here. As far as memory goes, we're really not using that much memory because these are all just audio files, so it's not taking up that much. If I pull up my iStatistica here and start looking at that, then I can see that my processor, it's not quite at 100%, so I've got quite a bit left on the computer itself. Or I'm sorry, that's the memory. It's not pushing the memory. The processor, I'm sorry, but no, the processor down there is almost at 100%. So you can see how I'm really pushing that processor. But here, the memory, I'm hardly touching on that. And of course, over here, I've got a bunch of external drives and everything connected to this computer. So anyway, let's kind of reduce that back down in size and get that out of the way. I'll kind of leave that up and running over here as we're doing that and put this one over there. And then let's go over to the mix window. I'm sorry, the edit window, I should say. Let me try to pull that back up. Now in here, I have to keep going back and forth. So let's hit record and play, and let's see what starts to happen there. Okay, so now we're recording. We can kind of see what's going on there. Let me kind of increase this up a little bit so you can actually see the waveforms being created. Again, that's just my voice talking right there. Still, as far as the system is concerned, we're using 95% of the processor for the computer. Pro Tools is using 85% of it. So we're really pushing the limits of the CPU. Now I'm recording 200 tracks at a buffer of 64 with a sample rate of 96K 24-bit. And again, that's 200 tracks with 4 plugins each on each one of them. Now I just ran out of CPU power. And so obviously I can't do 200 tracks. So let's try this again, right? Let's try this one more time. And this time let's maybe take 25 tracks off and let's see if we can do 175. So let's get back down here to 76. I'm going to hit delete on those and delete those. So now we're at 175 tracks. Now, obviously, I couldn't record two. I don't know how often you're actually going to record 200 tracks at the same time. I rarely find myself doing something like that. Not rarely, let's just say never. Okay, so let's hit record and play again. And let's see how far we're going to be able to get with 175 tracks playing at 96K 24-bit with a buffer of 64. Now, a buffer of 64 at 96K is going to feel like basically no latency while you're recording and while you're tracking. Again, it is the lowest buffer that you can get to inside of Pro Tools. So I'm going to let this sit here and play out for a second, and I'm going to come back to it after it's done. Hopefully, we'll get up to 3.5 minutes of recording, and then I'll be back. Let's start fast forwarding now. Now, I've got to keep talking for the sake of this, so I'll take this audio down while we're fast forwarding over it. But, I have to keep talking while all of this is happening. I hope you understand that because we want to keep it looking like audio is coming in and out and everything else like that. Yada, 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 bada, bada, bing, bada, bada, bing. Okay, so you can see here I've recorded 3.5 minutes of audio, a combination. I finally just put my phone down so it would play some music in the background so I wouldn't have to keep talking for 3.5 minutes knowing that you're not going to hear any of it. But that I've really had no problem. I didn't even get into the red from what I remember on that. So I think the fact that you can record 175 tracks all at the same time, each with 4 plugins. Let's look at those again. We have the new Waves SSL. We have the Waves 76. We have the Waves LA2A, and we have Avid's EQ7. So and that's on every single one of the tracks. So 175 tracks with 4 each, all at a buffer of 64, 96K, 24-bit. So hopefully this answers that question about 96K and what you can expect to achieve off of this. Now this is an M1Pro MacBook Pro 16-inch. It is the base model that comes with the 1 terabyte SSD on that, and so I think it was $25.99, something along there, for the price of it. And so it is a little bit of bump with the CPU/GPU over the base model, just a slight one. But that's the specs of the computer, and so I found very little difference, if any difference whatsoever, in performance-wise for this kind of stuff. Between the base 14-inch and the base 16-inch, they seem to be basically the same. For me, the 16-inch is more compelling because I do a ton of video editing on it, and so taking that on the go and being able to do video editing on the larger screen is important to me. Okay, so anyway, I encourage you to go back watch some of my other videos on the M1Pro MacBook Pros as well as the M1 MacBook Air. I've got a lot of opinions out there, some thoughts. I can talk to you about what works great and what maybe doesn't work so great. What's the best solution for you at this particular moment in time? Should you be patient and maybe wait for things to work themselves out a little bit, everything get up to date with Monterey and the new M1 processors and get that certified and then maybe jump ship then? Or do you have to buy a computer right now because yours just tanked? And are you willing to deal with some of the headaches that are going to come with adopting this new technology, both from a processing standpoint, but more importantly, in this particular scenario, Monterey. I've got a video out there on Monterey that you should probably go look at because there are some problems with Monterey, okay? So do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe, that notification bell. It really helps me get these videos out to a lot more people. My goal in this is to help people like you because I didn't, quite frankly, have that help when I was coming up through this, and I would have surely appreciated it, okay? So, so until next time, I hope every one of you have a 96K day. That's pretty good. 96K. I'll take $96K. You got $96,000 you sent me? I didn't think so. Bye-bye.